Afternoon, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Eve Weekly News. So we have quite a lot to cover. Looking at my screen of all the tabs I've got open, there's quite a lot to cover. So just to highlight what we're going to be going over, we are going to be going over the big one, which is Goonswarm lose a Keepstar, lost a Keepstar last night to Pandemic Horde through tactics which have been seen before and are very, very effective. So we'll be diving into that. Luna, who have Sov in Delve, have lost their Sov, and also Drakelare, who are also holding Sov in Delve, have had all their Sov reinforced and are about to be evicted. Also, I did go over that Sarathiel a couple videos ago, the Wormhole one that had officer modules on it. I've managed to get the full story time on that one, so we're going to be looking into that because it was more expensive than we first thought. There's going to be on the 9th of this month, there is a patch coming which has a lot of ship reworks on things like optimal range and damage projection, all that sort of stuff is being changed. Some damage, some guns being removed off some, bonuses added from others, taken off others. So null-sec and low-sec doctrine ships are potentially going to be reshuffled around because other things might be better than others now. So that's going to be an interesting dive into. And there was also a dread brawl in Rani in low-sec, which over 300 billion of capitals were destroyed. But first of all, before we dive into this, guys, if you are new to the channel, a subscribe below would be absolutely amazing. If you did find yourself enjoying it by the end of the video and you found it informative, a like on there for the algorithm would be much appreciated. Right, let's dive into this, guys. Here we are, guys. First and foremost, the one that probably a lot of you are interested to hear about is the Keepstar that died last night in Katakai. And this was a Keepstar, an offensive anchoring Keepstar. So in Great Wildlands region, which if we have a look on the here we are. So if we look on the map, this is where the Keepstar was. And it had range to reach into GTAQ and some of Ethereum reach with our super fleet, and also even further with Black Ops ships. So it would have allowed us to project into Ethereum reach a little bit better. Also means we have instant travel into Geminet up here and instant travel into Cache over here. So it is quite a pivotal system realistically, and it would allow us to project to capitals into GTAQ, which would not stop, but it would make the Horde think twice about dropping dreads on every fleet that we put in here. So that's the reason it was there. It would have been a new forward staging for us to, you know, drop onto Horde and friends over in here. So that's why Horde decided to go all out on it, and they used a very interesting tactic. So as we are going to be looking at this, I'm going to be playing the footage in the background and be doing a voiceover for it. So on the screen, what you can see is the Keepstar surrounded by orange dots, and those orange dots are Pandemic family. So Horde and Friends and NC and all them sort of stuff. And what their tactic is to keep throwing thousands and thousands of ships at the Keepstar, as you can see, and all they have to do is keep the Keepstar paused by inflicting, I think it's 15 or 20,000 DPS is to pause the timer and to stop it repairing, which is what because it came out of anchoring and then the core went in and then it started repairing. That's when Horde arrived on grid. We had, I think, 5 or 6 fleets there to defend it as it was onlining. And Horde used our tactic that we used in the war in Delve, where we were throwing trickle feeding ships onto grid. Those ships would die, but as long as they kept the damage up and we kept the feeding ships onto it and kept the damage up, the Keepstar would stay paused and essentially it would die, and that's what happened. So we did put supers on there to try and destroy some of the maulers and some of the assault frigates that we were throwing, which supers don't apply well to assault frigates, and if you didn't know, because the fighters don't really apply very well to them. They apply okay-ish to maulers, but then as time went on, they brought Ferox Navy issues, they brought some more stuff, and essentially over a long, I think it was 4 or 5 hours, maybe 5 hours, the Keepstar did die. Now, this is where it got interesting. We had to extract our super fleet. About when this Keepstar was on about 15%, we had supers and titans on field that were killing stuff that got within 100 kilometers of us, and we had to then extract that fleet out, because as soon as that Keepstar blew up, that means our supers would have been left with nowhere safe to tether or dock. And Horde had started. We got word that Horde was starting to log in and quite a high number of dreadnoughts for a dread bomb, which, you know, that would have been pretty bad. And what happened is a lot of our supers started jumping out, and some of us hadn't quite got to full jump cap. There was one hell that accidentally jumped to a what's called a bait beacon. So in Sovereignty Nullsec, you can have Sino beacons, which you don't need a person to light a Sino. It's a permanent Sino, and you can, if you're in a capital ship or a Black Ops ship, you can jump to it. And that's Horde made their one in GTAC Q, which is one of their stages for the region, for the border region, border space. They made that one public, so even us, like goons, could jump to it if we wanted. It basically it's if it's a simple misclick. If you misclick and you jump to that, you're dead, because they're gonna have supers, titans, everything waiting to drop on that beacon, that anything that comes that accidentally jumps to it. So it just so happened that one guy disconnected mid-fight, and when he logged back in, he misclicked or he accidentally jumped to that beacon in his super carrier, which I'll bring the kill mail up on screen for you now. He jumped his super carrier to that beacon, was instantly tackled and by a fleet, and then obviously he had dreads, supers, titans dropped on him, and it was about 100 billion that hell, because he had 2 officer modules in the high, and he had some abyssal rolled damage mods, which could have been expensive or they could have been cheap, or I don't know. I really don't know. So there was also, I believe, a Nidhogger jumped as well. Accidentally jumped to the wrong Sino, so he jumped and he died. So the report, let me bring it up for you now. So the battle report, because I did add GTAC-Q in there just so to show that this was the super carrier, the Hell. So as you can see, mutated drone damage amplifiers, and then the Strategos modified fighter support units. And obviously, he was destroyed by supers and a Titan. And there was also, I believe, there was a Nidhogger. But as you can see on here, to destroy this Keepstar, they had to feed, I think it was 4,000. I think it did get over 5,000 by the end of it all. I think it started, I think it came out about 9 o'clock or 9:30 or something like that, because I know I was ready to go about 9:30. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, so 5,180 ships were destroyed in that. That does include how many on our side? 426 ships were destroyed our side. 6,000 nearly were destroyed on their side. So they had to feed 230 billion worth of ships to kill this Keepstar, which is probably about what a Keepstar costs. So, you know, they broke even on that pretty much, which is good, always good. Because when we did this strategy in, I think it was FWST, when they anchored a Keepstar, we fed 1 trillion at it, because we were throwing dreadnoughts, battleships. But now that a Keepstar can be killed by lots and lots of frigates, cruisers, obviously Ferox navies. They did bring those in towards the end, but I highly suspect that's due to a patch that's coming up, which we'll discuss in a little bit, just to, you know, try and get rid of as many of these as possible. There's a lot of Ferox navies that died, and they were getting mulched by the super carriers, but it's mainly maulers and harpies and retributions to keep damage on the Keepstar for the time. So if a Keepstar, which it wasn't a fitted Keepstar, granted, it didn't have any fit, it didn't have anything like that, it was just a core, so it didn't have any fitting until it repaired. So if a Keepstar can be brought down by frigates and cruisers, big alliances can do that. Why would you attack a Keepstar with anything other than what's going to cost you 150 to maybe 200 billion to kill it, instead of feeding fleet after fleet after fleet of battleships to a Keepstar? Just keep throwing thousands of ships at it, and essentially it will die. There is no counter to it, apart from having, I don't know, more people than them and causing horrendous tie-dye and, you know, slowing down the process so you can see who's coming on grid, what they're in, maybe even reshipping a couple of your fleets to counter that specific ship. And there was a ping that went out by Horde to bring, basically empty a hangar of any kitchen sink ships that you've got. So anything that you've got lying around, like Vexers, Arbitrators, Ruptures, you know, just cheap stuff that you can throw at it, bring that and get rid of it. You know, anything to keep damage on this Keepstar. I suspect this probably will happen again, because I believe goons do want to get into within range of here. I believe goons do want to get into this range here. So it may happen again in K-Takai. Maybe another Keepstar going down. Maybe 2, maybe 3. I don't know. But let's not dwell on this too much. It was quite a hefty loss for the Imperium of 400 billion, including the Keepstar, we'd have Revenant and a couple of Vendettas on. So there's the super carrier, Hell. There was a Nidhugger, and there was some more smaller ships, a Keepstar. We did manage to get the core out at the last second, which I will show on screen now. You can see the Rorqual that is there. That was from GSOL, who is our logistics group. They managed to get in, get the core, and warp off, because what was left on field, they couldn't kill it, because all of our fleets were repping that one Rorqual. So they couldn't kill that Rorqual, and they managed to get the core out, as far as I've been told, and watching it happen. And I think they couldn't kill the Rorqual, so they did eventually give up, because we still had all our fleets there, and what was left on field was getting mulched in a very, very quick way. So we've got the core back, but you know, we've got more Keepstars to drop down. So now that we've seen this is what the play is, it'll be interesting to see how future attacks go on Keepstars. So let's quickly move on from that one, because we spent a lot of time on that. So on to Zekiel, we have Stack and Universe, who are Horde renters, because they are, I believe they rent these systems from Outer Passage. They either rent them or they are allies, so they don't rent them. I don't know. I just assumed because they're behind Horde and they've only got 74 members in there, they are renters, because they did live down near us and we evicted them from when we were moving in. And they went to hide behind Horde in Outer Passage, which is, I believe, it's all the way out here. So there's not much infrastructure up there. But I believe that Stack and Universe is a holding group for Hold My Probes. I might be wrong. on that. If I am, correct me in the comments, as you always do, as you guys do. Thank you also for doing that. So they did, I'm pretty sure they are a Wormhole group. 99% sure they're a Wormhole group, as they have had a lot of stuff dying in wormholes lately. So they had a Ritaru, the Tatara, another Ritaru, lots and lots of stuff, small stuff dying from Inner Hell, have just killed all of their stuff in evicting them out of that wormhole. So when you see all of these control towers being destroyed, that is because what they've done is they've taken every moon in that system with a control tower, so you can't anchor a pos to stage out of. And they have lost a Fortizar in there as well, yeah. So I think they have been getting evicted out of this wormhole, which is a C3? Yes, C3. So, excuse me. They got evicted out of one wormhole, and then it looks like the eviction was... Oh, C3. I thought it was a C5. No, it's a C3. Never mind. They got evicted out of a C3, which could have had, nice statics, which is why it was good for farming. It could have had a C4 and a 5 static, or a null sec static, for example, to make logistics easy in and out. But either way, regardless, it looks like Stack and Universe is getting evicted out of their wormhole, and I don't know if that means they're going to then pull everything into here and then stage out of here to fight back into wormhole space. If anyone's from Stack and Universe and wants to update me on that, or I think it's Hold My Probes is the actual executor of that alliance. I believe that is just a holding alliance for Hold My Probes. But again, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sorry. Correct me if I'm wrong. But we'll move on from that. So stack and universe there. So we have this little battle report that was handed to me just the other day. This was from 24 hours ago in X1, which I don't know where X1 is, but I'm pretty sure it's near the borders anyway. And it just looks like, I don't know, this looks like a fleet was passing through and these guys just happened to be there and wrong place, wrong time, got caught and the whole fleet decimated. I'm not going to go into too much detail about that because I don't have any context to it, and I'm not trying to say this was an amazing win because we had 300 people, they had less than 50, so it's just a stomping. That's not a fight. That's not oh, we won, wow, look at us, we won. It's none of that because that was entirely unfair, and they got absolutely stomped. So no point trying to bang the drum about that one. This one was that Dread Brawl that I mentioned, and I do have a clip of it. A guy from my alliance who was recording it, he sent me a clip, and what I will do is, this is basically the Dread Brawl that was going on. Let's see if we can upgrade this quality. No, that it was no end. So this was the Dread Brawl that was going on, and this was. So if I just pause that a second, Goonswarm went into third party, I believe, because. Oh no, we dropped dreads as well. It was PLA. Okay. It was the Chinese division of Goonswarm and the Imperium who were dropping dreads because fraternity. So I know Dracarys and PLA like to dunk on fraternity as of when they can. Deep Water Hooligans came into third party naturally. So I think everyone came into third party realistically. I don't know who the initial fight was. I don't know if it was for Winterco versus the Initiative and everyone else piled in, or if it was, I actually don't know because I've tried to reach out to a few people, but there's only so many people I can reach out to and get ignored by, But this looks like it was a hell of a brawl. So in total, 500 billion ISK was lost. So as you can see, this is guy, he was killing that Vindicator, which was, I believe that was quite a chunky Vindicator. But there wasn't a massive amount going on. It was just a Dread Brawl over whatever that is. Is that a complex? I don't even know. Just looks like some form of complex to me. But yeah, so I don't really know the context of this, so I won't delve too deep into this one. It was in faction warfare space, but all in all, 500 billion Dread Brawl and stuff like that. Always fun to see those happening. Seems like a lot of these are happening in low sec more often, as I've mentioned in the previous video, more often than null sec nowadays. Purely because it's easier to get your dreads out of low sec than it is null sec. But yeah, a huge thank you to the guy that got me this footage. Really appreciate it. And again, I think it was the Chinese division of the Imperium going against Fraternity. Then lots of people decided to dogpile in, which, fair play. This was the Sathreal. Now, this was the Sathreal. I've got all excited. So the Sathreal here, this kill mail, all of these, I did try and load up the guy showed me the links, the roles on these. That is an officer siege module, and Abyssal rolled it, and the stats were insane. That was a hell of a valuable siege module, and these had really, really good rolls. So basically, it said, yeah, we don't check a chain true one of a C6. We had, and that was a mistake. So we were thinking it's less people and don't expect that much from Laserhawks, but kind of we got baited. For me, it was some fun. Need to burn some miskies. As you see, it was a C2, so that Sathreal was built in the C2 because you can't jump a Dreadnought into a C2. It has to be built there. It was a quick refit to do close fight, but mistakes was done naturally. Normal, I was using Artifit to dunk one-shot people or try. With that closed setup, I had 4,800 DPS. On 3,500, it was around 8,000 or more. But main think was volley on 2,500 guns was 17,000 DPS, and that was the link that he sent me to show the roles. But he says I don't know if you can open it, but yeah, that was Siege Gyros was max out too. It was a proper fit, but not for tanking, and that why that is in that way it will be used PNI to tank. Oh right, okay, yeah. So they used a Phoenix Navy issue to tank, and that thing would come in, basically volley something, micro jump drive, volley something. So it was normally artillery fit by the looks of it. He normally had it artillery fit and just volleyed and whatnot. But yeah, so that fit was way more expensive than Zekiel gives it credit for. But it looks like they were baiting and doing whatever, and then they got baited by Laserhawks, which didn't go well, as you can see. Now, quick one to turn to Delve and Querious. So I did mention in the intro that Delve and Querious is still happening. There's still lots of fights going on. So if we look at the influence map, this was last week. So this little is behind me. Of course it is. Hang on. Let me just mute the camera. So this little dot down here is where Luna was. Luna was. And by the end of the week, they're gone. They have lost their SOV to Apocalypse Navy issue, which is Phoenix Coalition. Or RMC. Is it RMC or Phoenix Coalition? Can't remember which one it is. I'm so sorry. There's a lot of people to remember who's in what coalition, so do apologise about that. But Apocalypse now have that space there, and Siege Green are here. Apocalypse and these guys are part of Phoenix Coalition as well. So it is just Drake Lair left here. And that is reinforced until in a few hours. Okay. I've got a jump clone over there. Might go and check that out. And that is reinforced. So by the time this video goes out or gets released or you watch it, Drake Lair could be fully evicted out of Delve, which will then leave Phoenix Coalition to take all of Delve apart from Init that's holding the SOV here. And then Querious, which is here, has, who the hell are these? High-Sec Miners. Okay. I don't know what they're doing there, but whoever it is don't seem to be too happy about it. So they have reinforced the SOV. And also there was a fight that happened over in, which system was it? It was K6. There was a fight in K6, which I'm going to be putting. I would have been running in the background now, just on the stream. And there's clips of Nightmares and Bar Guests. Was it Bar Guests? Nightmares and Bar Guests with some Dreads fighting and stuff like that. So I'll leave all those clips running for you now, so you can see those as we talk. And the BR for that fight, I don't think I got it. I did get it. Let me just grab that out for you now. Oh, it's 1DH? Yeah, it was 1DH, not K6, sorry. 1DH. So this were obviously initiative, PM, third parties. So it was kind of Bring My Drake, Only Fleets, and the Phoenix Co. So there was good effort on that. Was that a Battle Rorqual? No, it was not a Battle Rorqual. It was a Salvaging Rorqual. Okay. Yeah, so they dropped, Drake dropped some Dreadnoughts, and there was some explosions, and there was lots of Dreadnoughts put on field, Faxes, Force Auxiliaries, capital logistic ships. There was a lot of Nightmares that died. So essentially, these guys did take a bit of a kicking by Phoenix Coalition. Only Fleets and Drake did take a bit of a kicking by Phoenix Coalition, but Phoenix Coalition did lose quite a few expensive things as well. You know, they lost 5 Minikawas, a Rorqual, and probably some Bar Guests and stuff like that. So there's again another good brawl over the SOV. I think the SOV conflict is coming towards an end over here now, because once Drake Lair have gone, these guys are all in Phoenix Coalition, and then there's probably Querious just to nip and tidy up in here. I've heard rumours that period basis might be on the cards for them, which is Imperium owned. I don't know if Dracarys are going to hand that space over to Phoenix Coalition, or if Phoenix Coalition are going to try and take it. I don't know, which might be interesting because it might... I don't think we would have to commit Supers and Titans to it because that's a long way to go for those, and we need those up here for a Horde. I think it'll be a case of... Because their period basis is out of... Most of period basis is out of Sino reach of Querious and Delve. They would have to be they would have to bring dreads through here and pre-stage them. So I don't think if they did go to, it would be a subcap war for us. It would be subcaps for us again, defending that. But again, I don't know what's happening there. I don't know if Dracarys have got a deal with them or going to hand that over to them, because Dracarys do have Paragon Soul and some of Esoteria. So I don't know what's going to happen on period basis. Soon as we find out what's going on with that, once all this conflict is solved, sooner we will know exactly what the deal is with that. But if they do want to take that, I don't know if Imperium will just let them take it. But if they do, it's probably because we didn't want it and they can grow and prosper in that sort of area. I don't know. So as I said, that was the map. So we have this. This is going to be... I really do apologize. This is going to be quite a long one. Let's get rid of that and that. What was that? That was that one. Okay, so we do have... This is just... thank you very much to the gent that's done this update here. There is obviously full patch notes coming out, and I didn't ever say that I would sit there and read patch notes to people because people can read, but some of the main ones that I want to pick out of this: no more Marauders in the ESS. So bank robbers rejoice. You are no longer going to have to deal with Marauders in the ESS, which is here. And cloaking radius increased to 500 kilometers, and T3 destroyers are now allowed in the ESS, which means, you're going to get your jackdaws, you're going to get your Hecates and stuff like that all in. There's a few balance swaps here with speed and all that sort of stuff, but the main ones I want to look into is Ferox Navy issue, reduced tracking and damage bonuses, reduced fitting, but improving shield booster fitting bonus to try and keep fitting the same for brawlers. So they're reducing the damage bonus and the tracking and how much you can fit onto it, as in reduced fitting power grid CPU, but improving the shield booster fitting bonus to try and keep the so that's basically, in the eyes of nullsec fleets and doctrines, that's a nerf. Mega and or Navy issue, increasing tracking bonus, adding armor plate mass reduction bonus. Megathrons might be on the menu. Same with the APOC. Remove tracking bonus, putting optimal range bonus to 10%, replacing tracking bonus with both a damage bonus and energy cap. So we might see APOC and Megas coming back on, which is good because I've still got my Boltec, which is the name of the doctrine. Maelstrom, they're making it pretty much like the a shield Hyperion, which is great because that's what it needed. And the rest is kind of... doesn't interest myself, but, the patch notes are coming on for Tuesday, so keep an eye out for that one. And I do appreciate this one has been quite a long one because there has been quite a lot of stuff brought up. And if I did get anything wrong, please feel free to DM me or hop in my Discord, DM me, and then, do whatever you want with the Discord. But open that DM with me, and, feel free to come and feed me information. We can talk about it, and you can correct me where I'm wrong, as long as you're not a dick about it. I don't mind being told I'm wrong, but when you're a dick about it, I'll just get rid of you. It's that simple. And yeah, or if you want, drop a comment and let me know what I got wrong, or, in the comments. I really appreciate it, guys. If you are new to the channel, as always, make sure to hit that subscribe button for me. Really appreciate every single one of you guys that have been subscribing lately. We are climbing our way to 5,000 subs. The goal is 10,000, but I'm going to be over the moon if we get to 5, because that's still a hell of an achievement in my eyes. So thank you everyone for that. Also, if you are a subscriber already, you can drop a like for the video for the algorithm to tickle the algorithm's fancy. So thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you next time in the next video. Take care and have a good evening.